Happy Friday. Good evening. So this week I had my aha early in the week, and I was able to do a lot of observation. I think I have a lot to learn and a lot of decisions to make because of this week. My biggest aha was what I still needed to learn about my children and the internet and technology. Observing how they truly use it, what they already know, and then understanding what they need help with and how to protect them, keep them safe, and teach them skills that they can apply with technology and online. So my aha is I've realized I think of the internet completely different than my children. Their activities to them seem much more like it's second nature, and I feel like I'm kind of managing that at this time. And then I realize that won't always be the case, and that just because I think I'm managing it, I probably really have no idea what they're really doing. The documentary Growing Up Online, wow, there was so much in there to take into consideration. I felt like the PTO chair, she was most concerned about predators when really there's other concerns that are probably bigger, such as the cyberbullying, which was really when my aha hit home, because I'm always schooling my children on strangers, especially online, how the people we should communicate online should be people we all already know. That's an extended, social network. And right now I have a little bit of control over who my kids talk to on the technology that I've allowed. I also realize they're using things and I don't know anything about them. They're constantly on an app called Musical.ly, and I know they're able to comment, and I've only heard them having video conversations back and forth, my daughter and one of her friends who comes over, and they do this Musical.ly app together. Now, I know there are comments on them. I don't know the settings, and it's a kids app, but how do we really know who's behind those? So those are the things I'm concerned about. I'm always thinking about where really I need to be sure that her friends are not picking on her on, such as it could be this app, Musical.ly, or something else. I became very aware this week, like the PTO mom, that predators may not be the biggest concern, that it could be cyberbullying. In fact, I did some research in our forum in the earlier part of the week, if you were to have read mine, was on cyberbullying. I went and read some articles. I was shocked by how often it happens. And it's not strangers online. It's part of their extended network. These bullies are also the people bullying them on the playground in a lot of cases. When it came to cyberbullying and this video and realizing that children know what to do with predators, like the children in the documentary said, we just ignore it. We delete it. It's almost like spam in our email. We don't look at it. We don't know. Sometimes it comes in the form of a name, other times a company, and other times like phrases. And we pretty much can identify in our email, that's probably spam, that's not correct. In fact, the technology can identify that in many cases. Well, for our kids, I think they do the same thing on social media, and I probably at least didn't realize that they do it to the extent that they do, and that they just ignore it. They ignore strangers. They delete them. They don't even try to respond. For me, that's where our differences in the knowledge exist, because I'm one to always reply. not just have grown up with the internet. I know, the phone rings, you answer it, you receive emails, you reply. For these kids, when I'm on Facebook, like, and I get messages, sometimes I'm likely to be like, who is this? Making sure I didn't miss something. Maybe it's like, I don't know, someone trying to connect with me. So I'll ask questions. These kids know immediately they don't know the person and they just delete them. That's very reassuring, and I want to keep instilling in my kids this knowledge so that they'll continue to do that. But I realize, back to cyberbullying, that this is a huge issue. And the timing of the documentary, it was, I'm not sure what word I want to use to describe it. What happened is last week, my husband came home from work, and he works at a middle school, and another one in our community, a 6th grader, had committed suicide. And all they know is bullying. Of course, things had to happen in the community, so word spreads fast. All the counselors from the different schools all go to that school to, help and serve the children. So the teachers find out why their counselor's gone, and it spreads. But a 6th grader, just my daughter's in 4th grade. I think of her as being so young, and I just can't even imagine the capacity that young for both these victims and the bullies. And then it comes to that. I just can't imagine children this young knowing this and thinking that's the only escape. But the reality is it's there, and it's a huge problem. In fact, it's one of the most likely things that can happen to a victim. And the fact that it just happened in our community is terrifying. And I realize I haven't educated my children like I have with the predator concern about the cyberbullying. I haven't, I'm now trying to put together thoughts and start to teach them, when people say certain things online, that it's just like the playground, and how we teach our children to deal with those social situations on the playground. I want to be sure to address them. I want to know they're going to come to me if they are in these situations. As we saw in the documentary, I believe his name was Ryan, the boy who had committed suicide. He really had connected with his parents. He let them know that he was being bullied. And it almost seems to me for these children that they don't differentiate when they're bullied online like we do as adults and calling it cyberbullying, and when they're bullied on the playground. They're just bullied. Someone in their social network is saying these terrible things to them. It could possibly be a stranger. We need to educate our children about this. But I found that I don't think of the internet like my kids do. If I was being, bullied on Facebook by a family member, by a friend, I would unfollow them. But just like on the playground, you can't necessarily, you can avoid the person, but you're still going to know they're there. Things happen, conversations. Since this internet is actually an extension of these children's social network, they're not going to take the steps unless we teach them to protect themselves from their peers online. I was reading an article this week. I'm afraid to say the author's name. I'm not sure how. Alyssa Abajud. And it was on cyberbullying. And I couldn't use his percentages in my forum thoughts on Wednesday, but he said between 20 and 40% of these kids online are victims of cyberbullying. 20 to 40%. I just wonder, how did he get those numbers? 20 to 40% of what kids online? All kids online, American children. Of course, I was questioning further, and I thought even if it were on that high end of 40%, that's nearly 1 in 2 children. That means that 1 of my 2 could easily face cyberbullying. I did not have any idea how to what extent and how these children bullied each other online. Today I saw this just horrible story on cyberbullying, and a girl who posted stuff on Facebook and let people know what she was about to do because of it. And they encourage each other. It's devastating. I also, I liked some of the things in Dr. Ozit's books, family planning, the observation, really looking at your family. So as I've had this aha this week, I've really been focused on that. I'm trying to observe what my kids are really doing online, dig into the research and find out what do I not know, and then learn. And I'm looking forward to, educating my own children further. But in the meantime, I realize I have a lot to learn, and I'm really glad to be in this class. There's a lot of great information. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Looking forward to your comments. Thanks.